I can name drop a lot of the people that have liked and said, I stand with you. That includes trustees,
Mhm.
that includes famous folk, that includes independent artists, that includes everyday people. If you actually read my letter, you will see that it was written with grace, integrity, respect, but clear, succinct charge. Nothing more. Nothing more. I specified this was after voting closed, that I not get in the way of anyone else's opportunity or chances. I didn't want to delegitimize. I didn't want to make people look like they didn't deserve to be in categories that they were in. I didn't want to get in the way of that. I could have acted a fool. I know a whole lot of folk, but I didn't do that because it doesn't serve me to do that. So I'm praying that I have a ground swell of support and or the necessary support to just enact change for fair process. And I would love to participate in it. At the end of the day, I know my trophy ain't the Grammys. I know it holds, it is a more divine truth. And we can get into that, but this isn't some Christian podcast, but we're
Mhm.
believers. We
Mhm.
know at the end of the day, that's the crown is what we're living for.
Absolutely. Mhm.
But I do understand that while I'm here on earth, I'm going to represent the love, the hope, and the justice I know God wants us all to partake in.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. My second question is kind of piggybacking off what Ty had already talked about in regards to how do we fix it, right? Uh, because when you think about organizations this big, when you think about the many moving parts of this type of entity, different steering committees for different genres and different things happening throughout the year, which could also have the ability to introduce biases. It can have the ability to introduce uh, favoritism when it comes to this process, right? So, what do you think the academy needs to do from a transparency perspective when it comes down to this entire process?
They can easily respond back with the statement of what they are doing to rectify it. Executive leadership seemingly sympathized for me. They said, I I feel what you're going I feel for what you're going through. They didn't say I feel it. I feel for what you're going through. A number of other artists are dealing with this matter, but changing an entire ballot specific to each person's grievance is not something that's doable right now. It's not feasible, function and financially. And so I respected that. I will say there was one executive in leadership that showed empathy, and I was really appreciative of her empathy. Um, and yeah, I do believe that there will be champions in the internal space to really work to fix this sooner than later. I would just say make a statement to clarify. And also to clarify that you understand I'm not trying to disparage or shame the Recording Academy, because that's not what I'm doing. A number of people have called me to talk about it or gossip about it. I'm not in the business of gossiping about anything. You know, this is what it is. This is what we're faced with. How can we make it right? Because it's a lot of work when you're in the business of it. Yes, we
Mhm.
love to do this award or not, but once you step into the business of it, yes, an award matters when you step into the business of it because awards affect the way in which the public celebrates you as well, which then in turn impacts your wallet. Do you
That's
know
right.
how many records are I believe Samara Joy. A lot of folks had no idea who she was. A lot of people did,
Right.
but a whole lot of people did not. 900%, 900% listening, a boost, 900%
Wow.
listen to her records. That's impressive. And that's the impact of celebration. When I was Grammy nominated, a whole bunch more folks learned about me. And so I know what it does, how it impacts, how it helps. And that's honestly what the Recording Academy is aware of. We have committees. They do committees throughout the year by genre. I will admit, I probably should have figured out, although I was on tour during some of them, I should have made certain I was on more of the spoken word activity. I was engaged with some of the activities that they had throughout the year so that I showed face more in
Right.
the space
Mhm.
so that it showed, hey, I
You
actually am
identify.
a part of this community. Like I'm not trying to just show up and take all of your stuff. Because remember, spoken word used to be conjoined with audiobook and
That's right.
narration.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So spoken word was going up against a Michelle Obama or Barack Obama, and it's like, knock it off, like,
Mhm.
and they did a great job, but those two shouldn't have been shared. They so it rightfully so. Shout out to Jay Ivy for doing the work, and all of those that advocated for it to be its own genre category. You know, I supported it a great deal. And I've had, like I said, projects that were accepted for consideration. They never got nominated, but they were accepted for consideration. So I'm privy to the culture of it and what's respect required. But I could have engaged a lot more in the community to show, hey, I'm wanting to be a part of this community as well.
Mhm.
But I am like a number of people. It's a small populace of us, but I think the populace is growing. We're fusion artists that are not a monolith. I studied at the Berklee College of Music. That's where I got my degree. Preceding that, the Juilliard School Winter Intensive. It's classical. The Houston Grand Opera, the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts, the same institution that Robert Glasper, Brian Michael Cox, and Beyonce and LaToya Luck and a bunch of folks went to. I am very versed in a number of genres, and I do them well and authentically. Folk, all of that stuff, that's my Americana. Like I live in these spaces authentically. So where do I go when I show up in the fullness of who I am? And I want it to be honored and celebrated the right way.
Mhm.
That too, I think that that's another piece of this scenario that's gotta be flushed out is and maybe it's called fusion, but I really do believe that there needs to be a category that can be, specifically and exclusively decided upon by the artist's intent to where if it's a mesh of many genres, it is exactly that, and that is an intentional creative project, and that they leave it where it is and it be understood and respected for that.
Yeah, Durand, I think, is a great example. He's very eclectic in his R&B expression. It's not just typical,
Right,
standard R&B. It's not
right,
it's elements of tradition, it's element of new age. It's all of these colors, and he brilliantly sits in progressive R&B.
yeah,
He's a poster child for it. And so my thing was, don't just throw me an R&B, when you know that there's enough progressive reality here that could just say, well, let's just put him in progressive R&B. I would have respected that a little bit more. But I think the artist intent argument is what I'm having. The I don't want to say argument. The artist intent charge is what I'm putting forward. The giving the allotment of time to appeal and or withdraw
yes,
should be sufficient. And also, what do you do when you have to recourse explaining to a community that you are now in a category that they may not think you belong in. And
Mhm.
so now when I did high level Tamron Hall twice, Jamal Bryant, uh, Berkeley Gospel Hall of Fame. I was inducted in the Gospel Hall of Fame.
Heck yeah.
It's a contemporary Hall of Fame. Lee,
But
Lee,
look,
but what's funny is they actually sound like some friends of mine. That the voices.
Ooh, yeah.
but
Yeah, Major.
no,
Yeah.
but Major, you're absolutely right because where's my magazine?
And I agree too, Major. I think that when I read this, well, let me see. When I read this category is intended for artists whose music is rooted in many of the elements of R&B, but has more progressive sound that may include elements such as hip hop, rap, pop, dance, electronic music. That's describing progressive R&B.